Hey, what's up, everybody? It's DJ Mo D here from What You Say Radio. I appreciate y'all always tuning in, locking it in with me right here on the hot station, keeping you up to date on as much news as far as the politics, sports, crypto, the stock market, entertainment, celebrity news goes. We do a little bit of all of it here on What You Say Radio. Make sure y'all smash the like button. Please subscribe to the page, and it helps the channel grow. In this video, y'all, we are going to discuss the NBA trade, the major trade that's taken place so far 4 days ago, and that is the Kevin Durant trade, which involved Dillon Brooks from H Town and Jalen Green, the young and rising young star, being going to Phoenix for Kevin Durant, a Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer, a two times Final MVP, a NBA MVP, one time player, and considered one of the best shooters, one of the greatest, if not the greatest scorer in NBA history, Kevin Durant. I believe he's 38 years old. And so we're going to break that down and discuss the impact and how it impacts both teams, because I think this is a great deal for both teams in different ways. And I think that a lot of people are looking at it or viewing it. And when I say a lot of people, I'm talking sports analysts, sports critics alike. They are only looking at it as from the H Town, the Houston Rockets perspective. And I could get and see and understand why they would look at it that way, as the Houston Rockets were the better team, have been the better team the last 2 years. They're up and coming. They're on the rise, and they're knocking on the door and needed that little boost to hopefully take them to the next level where they're trying to get. And that missing piece is supposedly Kevin Durant, which remains to be seen. So let me break it down from the H Town perspective first, and then we'll look at the Phoenix Suns perspective on this trade. H Town, Houston Rockets. They gave up Jalen Green, again, a young and up and coming scorer. Only, I think he's what, 21, 22 years old. Very young. He was their first round pick back in 21, 22, I want to say. And so he's a very young piece, along with the gritty and the grit and grind Dillon Brooks, who used to be with the Memphis Grizzlies and kind of set the tone, set that tough guy mentality for the Memphis Grizzlies, and brought that attitude as a vet over to the young Houston Rockets, because they are a young team with Jalen Green, the big center. I forget his name right now. Um, Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, you know, and the other role players. So Houston has, other than Dillon Brooks and Van Vliet, they pretty much had a young team, a young ball club, and so they're definitely on the rise. Um, but if you've seen the playoffs, if you watched them in the playoffs this past season, postseason, Jalen Green, in my opinion, who was like a 21 per game scorer during the regular season, he was exposed. He was exposed big time on the defensive end. He didn't score well. I think there was one or maybe one game where he did have where he had like over 30 points during that game. But the rest of the games, man, I mean, he was struggling to hit like 10 points, it seemed like. And so you had a perennial scorer in the regular season to get shut down like that in the playoffs, in the postseason. You could tell, or I could tell, I don't know if it was his confidence that got snatched from him um, in the playoffs. Um, I don't know if it was the rise of this young kid, Amen Thompson, who to me became a star in that playoffs. Like Amen Thompson is a consistent jump shot away from being an all-star, in my opinion. You know, and on the defensive end, he's a shutdown player. He could take the ball to the hole anytime he wants at at will, basically, and nobody can stop him. All he's missing is a consistent jumper, and he's right there. And so I think that kind of exposed Jalen Green, and maybe that got to him. But it was clear that Amen Thompson, along with the big fella in the middle, were the building stones for the Houston Rockets going forward. So I think that made Jalen Green expendable. And I believe he made the All-Star team last year. And so he was an asset that was a bargaining chip to go with Dillon Brooks to get a type of player like KD. Now, I like the trade for Houston. Do I think they gave up too much for him? I think that remains to be seen. He is one, like I said, one of the greatest scorers of all time in the NBA. I don't know if I'm GM of the Houston Rockets if I give up that youth in Jalen Green. I don't know if I give up on him because of a poor playoff performance. Um, and they also, not to mention, they also gave up a first rounder, along with about 4 or 5 second round picks, which second round picks, I don't care about those. But in this draft, they gave up the number 10 pick, I think it was. And so is that a little bit too much for Kevin Durant, who at this point is at the twilight of his career, 38 years old? I don't know. It remains to be seen. But if I'm the GM, I don't know if I do that trade. I don't know if I give up that much for Kevin Durant at this stage of his career. But what I will say is they have that young and up and coming rising star in Amen Thompson, who may be able to pick up for the loss of Jalen Green, and Kevin Durant's for sure going to give them the consistent scoring that they needed in the playoffs to win that series against It was Golden State, matter of fact, yeah, to win that series against Golden State, they needed that consistent score, and so guaranteed, as long as he's healthy next year, Houston Rockets will have consistent scoring, and Amen Thompson's going to be a year better. The center's going to be a year better. Van Vliet is about to re-sign. He wants to re-sign with the team, and so Houston Rockets they're going to be in pretty good shape. Now, let's take it over to the Phoenix Suns side, and I think a lot of people are missing the boat on Phoenix Suns. I think they did well. Of course, they wanted to get rid of Kevin Durant because they tried to shop him during the middle of the season last year. There were talks that they were trying to send him back to Golden State. He told them flat out, no, I don't want to go back to Golden State. And so I think that nixed any deal that they wanted to do at the trade deadline during the regular season. However, once you make that trade offer and it was out there and Kevin Durant knew about it, you can pretty much say it was a broken bridge that wouldn't be repaired. And so Phoenix Suns going into this offseason really had no choice but to trade Kevin Durant. All right, the Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal experiment, it didn't work out. And so, yeah, because Bradley Beal has a no trade clause, Kevin Durant easily had to be the first person or the first chip of the team that they would trade, as they're, of course, committed to Devin Booker, which I don't know on that one neither. Devin Booker's been through a couple of rebuilds with Phoenix Suns, and they continue to have him as the cornerstone piece that they're not willing to come off of. I don't know if that's a mistake. However, we're going to play with the cards that we've been dealt with. And so, again, I think the Phoenix Suns actually came out good on this because they get rid of an older player in Kevin Durant. They get a young Jalen Green. Again, struggled in the playoffs. Struggled in the playoffs. How many times has he been in the playoffs? Once, twice? So hopefully they find the right teammates, the right coach to build him back up, build his confidence back up, and keep him on that upward trajectory as an NBA player goes. Secondly, they got Dillon Brooks. Again, he brings that tough guy mentality, uh, the backbone of the team, of the defense. Going to get in the face of other players on the opposing teams. Is going to nag them. He's going to distract. He's going to cause confusion and chaos. And that's something the Phoenix Suns have been missing. That's something they've been missing over the last few years. Something that they needed. They need that toughness. And so I think Dillon Brooks is going to bring that attitude to Devin Booker, who can be feisty at times. Devin Booker can get feisty, but he's never had that bodyguard like Dillon Brooks. And then you got Jalen Green, like I said, the young guy, the young potential star, if you get him right. And then also, if I can go in here, let me go into my screen, because the Phoenix Suns over the last day or so have made some nice moves. So let me see if I can pull this up. Want to go into let me share my screen. There we go. All right, so here we go. And hopefully y'all can see that. Make sure. Okay. Hopefully y'all can see this. The Phoenix Suns. Hold on, I want to make sure, because I'm not sure you guys are seeing this. Here we go. Now we got it. Here we go. Sorry about that, y'all. You see, the Phoenix Suns shake up the future. They drafted last night in the draft Kevin Durant. I'm not going to go into him too much because I do not know this player other than he played at Duke. And the reason why I say I do not know the player, I'm not really a college watcher of college sports. I'm not really with the college football, college basketball. I kind of wait till they get to the pros, because that's what I watch, the NBA and the NFL. So I'm not going to speculate on him. However, it is said, and if you read this article, Phoenix Suns made a massive move that could reshape their future by getting 7'2". So they got a 7'2" defensive. Let me say that again: a defensive phenom in Kevin Durant, and they drafted him last night. And then they also traded for Mark Williams. I don't know if y'all remember during the trade deadline as well during this past season, the Lakers traded their rookie out of Tennessee to the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams, in which they received Mark Williams. They did a physical on him, and then they failed him. And so they rescinded the trade. And so they took the young shooter out of Tennessee. They took him back to the Lakers, and they sent Mark Williams back out to Charlotte Hornets. Again, Charlotte Hornets turned around yesterday, and then they trade Mark Williams out to the Phoenix Suns. Again, once you've tried to trade him, it's out there, and the trade gets rejected. And so now you got a player who's, goes back, and, he feels like he's not wanted, so you got to trade him. So ultimately, at any rate, what the Phoenix Suns now have two defensive players right there in this Clayman Malik from Duke, Mark Williams, who is a defensive shot blocker, right? And he's a rising shot blocker. He's young. Then you got Dillon Brooks, the toughness, and you put that with Devin Booker and Jalen Green, and wow, Phoenix Suns, man. you got to watch out for them now. Like the Houston Rockets, the Houston Rockets, who were better than the Phoenix Suns, you can look at their team now. You can look at Phoenix now and say, man, Phoenix Suns might be able to compete with the Houston Rockets. You can say potentially Phoenix Suns might be better than the Houston Rockets. It remains to be seen. But in my opinion, I think this is a boat that some people are missing right now because Phoenix Suns, now, as it says here in this article, they finally have size that they haven't had since Ayton, DeAndre Ayton, who they traded to the Portland Trailblazers a couple of years ago. So now they got a big center, 7'2", and they got Mark Williams, who's about 6'11", shot blockers, defensive, with a tough guy, the backbone of the defense, Dillon Brooks. I think Phoenix Suns are going to be pretty nasty next year. So that's something that we need to watch out, man. And I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. I wanted to examine and look at the trade from both sides. I don't think everybody's viewing it. I think everybody's just looking at what the Houston Rockets gained out of this trade and haven't actually looked at the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns are doing some nice wheeling and dealing in this offseason. And don't forget this. They have another chip if they can get him. I'm speaking of the Phoenix Suns. If they can get Bradley Beal to come off that no trade clause and they can move him and get potentially some other pieces to fill out a rotation, Phoenix Suns, y'all, be on the lookout for them. Anyways, let me know what y'all thoughts are on this trade, how it affect both teams. Let me know if y'all think Houston got the better of the deal or Phoenix got the better of the deal. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Again, make sure you like, subscribe to the page, to the channel. It helps us grow. And I will catch y'all in the next one. This is DJ Mo D from What You Say Radio. I am signing out. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. What you say.